So here's a perfect example on how Aperture affects your video composition. Right here I'm focusing on the background, which is a mountain with landscape over here, and then in the foreground I have a couple of trees on this side and this side, which are only a couple feet away from my camera. This is currently being shot at 2.5. This is what's making the foreground blurry. This also works backwards, so if you're focusing on the trees, as you're going to be able to see, I'll pull focus to the trees. That then switches it to where the foreground is in focus and the background is blurry. Same with this tree. That secondary tree on the left, that's a little bit further away, is now in focus, but the background is blurry, along with the closest tree, which is also the foreground. Now if I were to switch the aperture and close it down, correct my exposure with my variable ND filter, you're going to be able to tell that more of your composition becomes in focus. As you're able to tell here, now you have the tree on the left hand side that is in focus, the background that is also in focus, this one that is mostly in focus, but that's the comparison of now shooting at a closed aperture of f14. Same exposure, overexposing to plus 1.3 stops, same shutter speed, 180 shutter angle, and then also same ISO, which is 800, keeping my white balance at a set Kelvin of 5100 Kelvin. Manual focus is key. I hate when my autofocus starts jumping all over the place, especially if you have it in wide or zone. It's going to try to focus on this tree or that tree, which becomes a massive hassle, especially when shooting at a wider open aperture. All right, two to make it true. So as you're able to tell, right now I'm shooting at an aperture of f1.8. Yeah, f1.8, and everything in my area is in focus. Everything behind me is out of focus. That's going to be the effect of a shallow depth of field achieved through a wide open aperture. All right, this is example number 2. As you're able to tell, I closed down my aperture, and the effect of that is that now a lot more of my scene is in focus. So for example, where before the background, which is the mountains and the trees, was out of focus, my car was in focus. Now my car is in focus, I'm in focus, and the background, which is the mountains, is also in focus. The difference between an f1.3 or f1.8 in comparison to an f16 or f13 aperture is pretty significant. So depending on what you want your scene to look like, whether you want more things in focus or whether you want to hyper focus on a specific thing by holding focus on that and creating a shallow depth of field, is going to be achieved with your aperture. So hopefully that helps you guys.